Guys, I am excited to have Carlos German here. He's really been a huge help to me in getting my newfound career going, and I met him for the first time down in Key West. And I tell you, my man, ever since meeting you, you have been such a huge help and just a pivotal figure in making it easy to get over to EXP and start everything off right. So thank you so much.
My pleasure, and thanks for having me. I've been obviously following you since you came into my life, and I love this show. Super blessed to be here. Admire you for all the value that you're adding in the real estate industry, all the impact that you're making, and it's how many agents tune in, and whatever I can do to add value to your audience, that's what I'm here for. And I know you got some curveballs for me, so I got my bat ready to add value, to bring some golden nuggets, and to make an impact. That's what I love to do. So thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. I was just talking with Alex Hag, and we started kind of getting down that road of why I moved over. And I said, there are a million reasons to love your brokerage, whatever your brokerage is, right? There's all the pitch points. But I said, honestly, if all the people at this brokerage moved over to another brokerage, I'd probably move to that brokerage. I mean, I just love the people. And it's such a different, and this kind of leads into the next thing I want to talk about. It's such a different culture in that a lot of in fact, I've only been at two of the brokerages, right? When I sold up in Minnesota, I was at Edina Realty. And then when I got here, it was at Keller Williams. And at both those places, it was what I would consider to be kind of a traditional look at an office setting. The top 2, 3, 4 studs kind of held their information tightly. And unless you wanted to come and be a part of their team and they made money off of you, they weren't really going to give you a lot of their time and effort. And because it was hard to justify, I don't think they were being rude or that, it was just like, I'm here to make money. This is a business. I'm not making money. So sorry, buddy. And I never took that as rude. I just thought, I can understand that. Okay, thank you. Coming to EXP has been completely different. And again, this is not an EXP pitch. This is a pitch for Dean and Alex and you and Jay and Michael and Veronica and Kyle Whistle has helped me. It has been phenomenal how helpful you guys have all been. And I could not have aligned with better people. It is the reason I went over, man. You guys are phenomenal. I want to say thank you.
My pleasure, and I'm glad to add a little bucket of a little drop in the bucket, right? And be able to contribute.
Yeah. So amazing. You have brought over 800 plus agents to EXP. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, obviously a concerted effort, but my EXP group, as I call it, is over 800 people right now. And just a blessing, amazing people coming into my life, and I'm learning so much from everybody, growing with everybody, and even people outside my group, because that's one thing that you were talking about was how we're all in alignment to help each other. Well, we own this company together, so that's what makes it so magical.
Yeah, and the whole mindset's really taken over the way I sell. I think I used to read all of I won't name the people. I don't want to call anybody out, but the books that, how do you close? How do you handle an objection? And I've really taken on the mindset of forget it all. Just honestly come in and try to help people wherever it is they're at, whether they're on your team or not on your team. And it's really interesting how the money just kind of follows. If you just forget about the money, forget about the profit, forget about all that, and you just focus on helping people, it's amazing how well that works.
Right. It's that principle of abundance, right? When you give, when you contribute, ultimately, you're not necessarily looking, the people that really, really contribute from the heart, that make it a habit, they're not necessarily looking to, ultimately get back. They're just passionate about adding value. They're just passionate. Those are people that do it best, right?
Yeah.
But it does come back. It's like a boomerang. You cannot contribute and impact and help out and give and not have it come back to you.
Yeah.
So it's a great thing to do. And I was a broker for 10 years before EXP, right? And my whole philosophy was putting agents in my shoes of what what worked for me as an agent. Because when I was an agent, I found some things, some principles that were tried and proven to help me grow. And I sold as many as 50 houses as a single agent, without an assistant, right? So ultimately there were some things that were working there, and I put those agents in my shoes. However, my brokerage wasn't a big enough platform for me to make as big of an impact as I
Yeah.
could have made.
Yeah.
And I ended up kind of coasting with that model and staying with like a team model and staying kind of small, when I was cheating myself out of my true potential, because I could have been impacting more people, could
Yeah.
have been helping more people. And, obviously now I get to do that because I'm in a much bigger platform. And people like you have come into my life, like Alex Haig, who, I've had tremendous impact on, and is a blessing, because you guys are even in a different market from mine. You wouldn't have been a fit for my brokerage, for my team, but
Yeah.
you're a fit in my life now.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. And now I get to pass on those principles to you guys, so you can pass it on to other people on how to really scale up your business, how to generate more leads, how to build a solid team. And if you want to expand nationwide, how to do that, how to build influence, how to create a brand, all those things that I've been blessed to get from other people, because I didn't invent anything, right? All those things now I can pass on to my partners, and it's why EXP is so amazing.
So having gotten 800 agents over, I mean, you've got to admit you're the shining example of how to build those relationships. People trust you. And you can see just talking to you that you're a pretty I mean, I'm a spaz. I get just excited. I'm all fire, all motivation. And you either love me or I drive you nuts. Just ask my wife, man. But you have such incredible patience. It's so impressive. What would you give as advice as the top one or two things to people who, I mean, forget about trying to recruit people to your brokerage, that
Right.
same patience, that same relationship building. I mean, you could extend it into sales, which is where I'm going with this, but really it's any relationship, right? It's the relationship you have with your friends. It's the relationship you have with your spouse. It's the relationship you have with your employer if you're working in a factory. How, or let me word this a little bit better. What one or two things would you offer to people when it comes to relationship building?
I mean, at the end of the day, a relationship is chemistry, right? You're looking for people that you connect with, that you're like-minded with, that you truly, genuinely feel like, oh, I would hang out with this person, or
Yeah.
I can collaborate with this person, or I can make an impact in this person's lives. There are different levels, of relationship, but at the end of the day, what I look for, and what my mind frame is when I'm looking to develop those relationships is, okay, what do I admire from this person?
Yeah.
What is one thing that I really truly feel like, wow, that's a blessing. Look at that. They're amazing at this. We all have our weaknesses and we
Yeah.
all have our superpowers. So you need to fall in love with people's
Yeah.
superpowers, and be interested. Like, I am a really, a growth-minded person. I crave growth. That's my hashtag, crave growth, right?
Yeah.
And I'm always looking to learn. And everybody has one little, unique superpower that makes them special. And how to influence and influence people tells us, hey, you got to be interested, right?
Yep.
It's not about you, it's about them.
Yes.
So in order for you to be interested, you got to genuinely find that one thing. And then once you find that one thing, you go deep on it.
Yep.
And that's how I do it, right? So, I may connect with you and meet you, and all of a sudden I go down into what I feel is amazing about you, as a person in business, and I connect. I'm like, wow, that's awesome. Tell me more. And building that, and then from that level, that creates that rapport when you genuinely care about getting to know
Genuinely.
somebody.
Yeah.
And ultimately, everybody loves to help, right? And I love to learn and grow. So, if I connect with you, I'm like, man, this guy speaks so well. He's crushing this podcast and he's got these 5,000, 6,000 views on YouTube and I can only get 10. Let me learn a little bit more about what Joe Rosen is doing to take over the market with his videos, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to download as much as I can out of that. But you love it because that's what you're doing that, right? Like you are putting time and effort. And like, if I'm like, hey man, how do you get 5,000 views on that video? And you'll be like, oh man, let me tell you, not all my videos do well, but this one here is, you'll go off on that.
Yep.
So that creates that element, and then from there, in order for us to get in alignment and partnership, you need to see value on the other way around, right? So in that element, the philosophy I subscribe to in that is showing people what it would be like to work with me even before they work with me. It's the same thing. Like I tell you guys, like, okay, Joe, like somebody's interested in partnering with you or working with you at some level. Let's show them what it will be like to work with somebody like you.
Yeah.
What are the benefits? What are the value adds that we bring as a group? Introduce them to me, introduce them to other people in the group. Let's get them into one of our classes. Let them experience what it will be like. Because once they experience that value, then it's like you're saying, you're telling them, hey man, I joined EXP because of the people.
Yeah.
Right. And great, you know what that is because you had that opportunity to meet those people, right? But if you just tell them, man, the people are great, and they don't know who those people are,
cool story, bro.
Then you're selling, right? Not influencing.
Yep.
So in order for you to build those relationships, it's just very simple. Genuinely getting to know them and caring about something that makes them special and that you can really unpack and and truly go deep on. And then secondly, everybody is looking for a relationship where it's a mutually beneficial relationship, right? Meaning, like if you have a best friend and you're the only one reaching out and interested and they're not interested in anything about you or whatever, it's like, okay, well, this is not going very far. But if at the end of the day, I'm interested in that person and then they see value in me as a person, then that creates that chemistry and that creates a great relationship, in my opinion. There's a lot more to it. But as far as building a team, that's really the magic behind it.
It's just so interesting because the whole concept of quote unquote selling has changed for me immensely in the last 6-8 months. Again, I don't want to name names. I'm not calling people out, but a lot of the old school real estate coaches pushed when they say this, you say this. When their objection is this, you handle it with this. And I learned all that. And I remember selling people houses using all those techniques, and it didn't feel good. And I didn't get a lot of referral business. And it just... like when you saw that person in the grocery store a month or two later, I felt kind of dirty. Like I remember selling that person, and really aligning with you guys has completely changed my mind. It has completely changed how I approach it. And everything you just said about not just like trying to figure out what is Carlos good at and then let me build rapport with him because I want to build rapport and that'll help me. But just like genuinely lose yourself in Carlos. Like, dude, let's talk about how you crave growth. Because that to me is kind of interesting,
Right.
But just genuinely doing that, I think is where a lot of people get lost is the genuine part of it. It's tough. You have to, I don't know what's the key there? What would you say to somebody who says, I just don't give a damn about that person's interest or their strength or whatever it is. I just don't genuinely care. I'm not interested. What would you say to that?
Man, it's a mindset. I mean, if you have a growth mindset, you have to believe you can learn something from anybody and everybody, right? And if you miss an opportunity to get to know someone and learn from them, really you're missing out in the world. That's in my opinion, and that's my belief, right? And granted, obviously, there's people that won't align. There's people that the values don't align, that there's no congruency, and you're not necessarily going to go deep on a relationship if the values don't align and you don't see, a great congruency there. So you kind of have to check yourself. There's billions of people in this world. So you got to be true to yourself and realize, okay, great. Yeah, this person may be amazing at this. However, I just don't feel like it's great alignment. I don't feel like I could go through the barriers of getting to know that from that person, and that's fine, because there's a lot to it. At the end of the day, like, I'll give you an example. There's people that may have a very strong narcissist kind of personality, right? Like, managers or bosses, or and stuff like that. And they will put you down and try to belittle you or undermine you, and that's ultimately going to be hard to break through, right? So I mean, if you're in a situation where a person immediately, you're like, that's not congruent with my values, and that's not going to work, there's not a lot of opportunity for me to grow there, then you don't. It's that simple. There's got to be that genuine situation to it. So that would be the one thing. Your values are a filter. So your values needs to align. Like, I'll give you my values. Like, I'm devoted, right? So I give my best, I push, I live my best on the field. I have that devotion. Actually, my license plate says devoted in it. I'm crazy about it. Joyfulness. I gotta be having a good time. I gotta be having fun. I can't be with negative people that I just, that drags me down. If somebody's just negative or not fun to be around, it's hard for me to bring that value and create that connection if somebody's super negative, right? Now, some people get up on negativity and they may be a great match. Like, man, yeah, the world is gonna end. This coronavirus is just horrible. It's just like me. Yeah, that's what I think too. And and that's great, and it happens. But for me, that's hard to break through, right? And then obviously growth. I like to be around people that are growth minded, that want to learn, that want to grow, that value knowledge, that value getting better every single day. So, if you check those simple boxes, if you're somebody that's proud and elite, and you're proud of what you do, and you're a growth-minded person that you want to grow and do better, and then you're a fun person to be around, then that checks my boxes. I'm like, okay, that's a person I can build a relationship with, and it's a person that I can genuinely be interested in. And those are people I like to work with, like, if you create growth, if you're somebody that's positive, if you're somebody that is going to want to be great and have excellence and be surrounded by excellence, then that's my tribe.
Yep. Yeah, man. Exactly. That's exactly how I feel with everybody that I work with now. It's just, and I have we were talking about this a little bit, Alex and I, earlier today. I've really tried to take a lot of the relationships that I have that have a lot of negativity, or a lot of, maybe not even negativity, but there's no desire to really move forward, no desire to challenge themselves, no desire to get uncomfortable in growing. And I've really I've been cognizant about limiting those conversations more and more, and trying to inject more Dean, more Alex, more Carlos into my day. And it changes your world, man. It changes your outlook. It changes your standards. It changes everything you do. But it's tough. It's really tough because you have those relationships with people. But it's so interesting, the mindset that you get from surrounding yourself with incredible people.
I mean, you're an average of the people you surround yourself with.
Yes.
Period. The end. That works every single time. They nudge you in a certain direction. Always. whether you notice it or not, people are nudging you in a certain direction.
Yeah.
And it's happening more than ever now because, those people you're surrounded with, now you're watching every move they make on social media. And now if they make a move here, you may be influenced to go there.
Yep.
So make sure that those people that you're watching, those people that you are, admiring and spending time with, that are moving you in the right direction. And by the way, I mean, you should be hanging out with people that you have some admiration for, because if you're the smartest person in a room, then there's not a lot of growth there. You always got to have some people that you look up to, that you're hanging on to, and they grab you up. Then you've got some people that you're bringing up with you,
Yep.
and you're doing the same for others, right?
Yeah.
And then there's people that you're running side by side with that are like, okay, let's go, let's keep pushing, right?
Yep.
So there's three levels of relationships, and you got to make sure you mix and match that, and make it where you're getting that pull from other people.
Yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong, but a big part of your day now, a big part of your career where you're at, is going around and helping the people underneath you who are starting their teams, they're big in their markets, and giving them all of you and saying, hey, how can I help you with your online presence, with your speaking, with your whatever it is, your personal sales, whatever it is. And you're going around and helping a lot of people. What is it now that we've got all of these coronavirus issues, right? And the issues of how do I show a house? How do I go to closing? How do I get someone in with an inspector and really get in there and see all the things that need to be fixed on this house, but also maintain 6 feet? And in some states, you can't even, like I've got one contingent upon a closing in New York. Who knows when that sucker's going to close, So how do you push people forward in this market? What advice are you giving? And is it different or is it the same as what you were saying 4 or 5 weeks ago?
Oh, it's a completely different landscape. As a leader, we all have a responsibility to understand that, hey, these are uncertain times. There's no question about it. No one knows what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yep.
And you got to step up bigger
Yep.
and better than you've ever been for your people. So I have my team. So I have a sales team of agents, and that's one responsibility. So it's a small team that I've had for like 10 years. They do over $1 million in GCI. I coach them, I mentor them. I don't sell homes personally, but I'm always there with my team helping. And then I have the organization, right? My EXP group, which is a quite sizable group. But at the end of the day, the key of what I do doesn't change. And it is add value to people's lives.
Yep.
Whether I'm helping my team, whether I'm helping, a partner like you, whether I'm helping my son, because now I'm having to help in homeschooling my son and do homework, right? It doesn't change. So, the framework of it, you just gotta realize that you need to pivot and adjust. So we were doing a lot of things locally, a lot of trainings locally. I'm flying to different locations like Chicago, to New York, to other markets to help our partners, South Florida. Obviously I went to see Alex multiple times. So we had to pivot that, and we're blessed to have EXP World in EXP, which is our platform to provide distance support, distant learning, and it's just amazing. So we moved all of our training, all of our masterminds, all of our coaching, all of our events to the cloud. So that's what has been different on my end. We continue to add value, and then we started adding even more value because we're all doing this together. So now people have more access to everything that everybody else is doing in our organization. Because I am a leader, but I've got some badass, amazing leaders in my organization that do amazing things. And we all benefit together. We all share trainings and ideas and strategies, and we help the whole group. We have a unique alliance that is just unlike anything I've seen out there, where we all collaborate, we all share, we all work together. So that's the way that my role and my responsibility has changed. I'm still doing the same things, like, I do agent coaching and training and one-on-one, like we did the other day. We hopped on a Zoom and broke through a few things that we needed to work on, right? So I keep doing that, and I'm even doing more of that right now. So I continue to do that. In a normal world, I would do half of those in my office, half of those over Zoom. Now all of those are over Zoom, right?
Yeah.
Um, and as far as what I'm teaching and telling the agents to do is a few simple things. Okay, first of all, alignment with the wave. There is a wave right now, which is a wave of uncertainty, and we don't know what's going to happen, right? And we don't have a crystal ball, but we need to understand that if there's a downturn that is catastrophic in the market, that creates amazing opportunities.
Yep.
Right? So let's align with that. Like, what are the things that we can do to align with that? And when you think about the last 10 years and how everybody during the last downturn wish they would have had more money, wish they would have had more time, wish they would have had more opportunity to invest. Well, if that happens now, are you ready to help them?
Yeah.
Right. So that's one thing. Now, the other thing is realizing, okay, in the last 5 recessions, in the United States, only 2 times the market got hurt. And one was pretty small drop in pricing. The other one was the one in 2008, which was, quite the drop. And that was something that had not happened in, decades, right? So there's a good chance that maybe this doesn't really have as big of an effect as in the past, right?
Yeah.
So if that's the case, so again, you got to align with different possible scenarios. You just got to keep pushing and working and making sure we're adding value to people's lives and connecting with the database. If you're not calling your database and connecting with them, and look at that, see, that's what life is about right there. So you need to connect with your database and make sure that you are in these times in front of them more than ever, right? So as an agent, all your people that you've done deals with, all your people that you have in your database that didn't buy from you, that bought from somebody else, and the people that maybe didn't buy anything. If you've been in this industry for 1, 2, 3 years, you may have hundreds of leads. Some people may have thousands of people in their database.
Yeah.
You need to be mining that database and systems and structures to take advantage of that opportunity. So that's it. And make sure you have a strategy for whatever the outcome may or may not be, right? So that's important. Work harder than you ever have so that you're aligned in a position where the agents that run scared are going to leave opportunity in the table, and you want to grab that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's also part of the equation. And ultimately realizing that you don't know what's going to happen. So if you have a buyer that needs to buy and has to buy right now, well, you help them. You provide them with the right information.
Yep.
But your job is not to put cold water on someone that needs a property because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yes. Yeah.
You just be the source of the source. You provide information and let them make an informed decision. Yeah. And some people will move forward, some people will not. Right. And then the other thing is, because we're in uncertainty, if you have listings, if you have a seller, well, if I had a listing right now, I would call everybody that showed my house, everybody that submitted an offer that I rejected, and I may be willing to take a little bit of a lower offer now because, again, we don't know what's going to happen.
Yep.
So those are opportunities. If you're working with a buyer and the buyer got rejected on 2 or 3 houses, well, call those houses and find out if the seller is more open to negotiation, right? And by the way, I started talking about these things, and my team, I did 2 trainings on these topics. Then I did a training on how to work with clients virtually. I've been adding all these different pieces, and they did 9 deals in 1 week on the 2nd week of the coronavirus.
Yeah. The first 2 weeks of the coronavirus were the busiest weeks of my career.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah. So that was easy for us as well. I mean, 9 deals in 1 week, that was crazy.
That's great. So I've had a lot of people reaching out to me lately, and one of the big things that you just pushed, because I was going to ask, okay, what would you were talking a lot about mindset, and then you did get to, this is how I would stay in front of people and get some leads. And you said, stay on the phone, mine that database, go back and look at some of the people that you haven't talked to in a while. I've talked to, and this blows my mind, I didn't even know this was a thing. I've talked to agents who've been in for 2, 3, 5, 10 years. And I'll ask them just out of curiosity, like, what CRM are you using? I don't have a CRM. So how are you contacting people who say, I might sell in a year? Well, I don't know. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So for those people who have a database of 7, and now, I don't know that I would recommend going out and door knocking. That might be ugly. Open houses probably aren't going to return what they used to. What would you suggest that person does in this market to generate leads?
Yeah, I'm a fan of online lead generation. That's how I built my team, generating leads online. I do a lot of Google marketing, social media, and online lead generation is something that is tried, proven, it works. Now, you need to have the right processes, the right principles, the right campaign, and the right mindset, to make them work. A lot of people don't know the different aspects that make that work. They just go and invest the money, and they don't feed the machine properly, right? So I would definitely be looking at campaigns online. If you don't have money, it doesn't matter. Online lead generation has nothing to do with money, right? So for example, it's about building an audience. So you either pay for the audience, or you work for the audience.
Yes.
So I teach my agents to pick and choose. Okay, if you don't have the money, then you have the time. Let's build an audience. And going back full circle, what are you passionate about?
Yeah.
What are some things that you can get excited about? Right? Like me, if I needed to build an audience right now, because I love growth so much, and I love, people that create growth and that alignment, I would go and join some book clubs. I would go and join some communities where people are sharing ideas and learning, so I would join 10, 20 Facebook groups. I would become active on those Facebook groups, and I would have a blast because I love it, right? So I'd be like, oh, man, that book, I read that book, I put my comments, right? And I haven't read that one, I'm gonna read it this week. So I'm engaging and I love it. And now I'm in those 10 groups, contributing and adding value and learning and taking, and guess what? Some of those people are going to end up being my friends on Facebook now.
Yes.
Okay, so that's your audience. Now you're building your audience. Now, if you position yourself as an expert on Facebook, and that's just one strategy, right? And you know how to properly funnel friends into leads, then you got your lead generation right there. So ultimately, go into Facebook groups, connect with people genuinely, build those relationships, move them to your personal profile, and then now that's your launch pad for lead generation, because now you have the audience. So that's really how it works. Now, when you don't have that audience, or you don't want to put that time and effort, then you go and invest money, and Facebook will give you the audience and put you in front of people, and you're paying for that kind of freebie of not having to build the audience, right?
Yeah. You really made a great point there. I've had quite a bit of success in the social media realm, and I get a lot of people who ask me, like, what scripts are you using, and where are you saving those scripts, and how are you using them off your phone versus your and I'm like, dude, I don't have any. What are you talking about, scripts? And they're like, well, what do you say when somebody in whatever group says, hey, I'm looking for a realtor? Like, what is your post? I'm like, I don't know, whatever I truly feel at that time based on what their question kind of elicits out of me, like, I think there is so much strength. Now, it's a fine line, right? There's a strength and efficiency from having scripts and processes and all that good stuff, but there is so much strength in having authenticity also. And every question, even on Facebook, right, where there's no tone, there's no voice, there's no face, you can't see my face, my gestures. There are so many ways to ask a question, and you can see kind of what they want. You can see what they are having a difficult time with. You can see what all of their pain points are. And I always say, dude, just fix all their problems. You know, like I had a gal who was really concerned about schools, and everybody on the post all these realtors kept posting, I used to be a teacher. My uncle is a principal. And it was all these points trying to prove that, hey, I know who this is. And I said, I literally put like this much of, this school is like this school is like this. Here's the contact person for this one. And I just solved all of what I guessed were the concerns. There must have been 70 agents on that post. And I got the DM and just, hey, she asked me more. And I came back with another one. And I lined her up with, it was just, I really think that, again, it's a fine line. You do want efficiency, you do want processes, but you also want to realize that people aren't robots, man. And everybody has such unique situations. And kind of going back to your point on engaging and building real relationships, not manipulated relationships. If you're just trying to convert that lady, she's going to feel it. She's going to read your scripted question and feel it. And it's going to look like the other questions. But if you genuinely are like, hey, I need to know this, this, and this about you, because depending on your answers, I'm going to reach out to a couple people who I think can help you. And then 5 minutes later, you connect them. It's game over, man. So I really do think you made a great point in the authenticity that needs to be in those conversations, in those DMs, you know?
Absolutely. That's with everything. And you nailed it in the head. I mean, you know, I was already putting my gloves on and I was like, yeah, you know, add value, right? But you nailed it. That's all you need to do, and you'll win every time.
Well, I tell you what, man, this has been a phenomenal chat. I really appreciate it. I think that, again, I know I've said it 17 times, but it's the biggest thing for me. I'm probably a horrible EXP salesman, but I will sell our aligned team all day long because you guys really go to bat for everybody down the chain. Jay Kinder was the #2 Coldwell Banker agent on the planet. That dude is busy. He is busy. He's given me 2 30-minute conversations, and he told me, dude, here's my cell phone. Call me anytime with any question. I don't care. Who does that at any other place? And again, this isn't an EXP pitch. It's our aligned group is such an amazing group of givers. It's awesome. And it's funny because I get people who reach out to me and I'll tell them from other brokerages. And I'm like, hey, here's this. Here's how I'm doing this. Here's this. Here's this templated whatever. And they're like, what? You know, are you trying to recruit me? Or I'm like, dude, if you come over, great. But I just don't care. Well, what do you expect from me? That you do the same thing for somebody else. You know, like go crush it for somebody else. And they're like, oh, okay. Yeah, come get it, bud. It's hugs and kisses time. Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
2 more minutes? Yeah. All right. I'll be right in. Start counting. Close the door. Oh, she's counting for real. All right. Get out of here, crazy.
Yeah. So, you know, and that's what I would say as we wrap it up. I mean, at the end of the day, you're an average of the people you surround yourself with. You know, 100%. I've grown how I've grown. I've become who I've become because I've always looked to surround myself with the right people. Yeah. And what I exhort everybody that's watching here is to surround yourself with Joe Rosen, with myself, with top people that are doing big things out there. I mean, man, you should be having your own podcast. You know, you should be out there adding value to people's lives. You should be out there converting in a different way that's not salesy. That's adding value. Yeah. So I commend you. I definitely commend everybody that's watching because they're growing, they're learning, they're putting their commitment to become better. And also they're surrounding yourself with the right people. At this point, we would love to have more time with you. And if that's the case, you know, I would definitely exhort you to reach out to Joe and connect and see what that may look like. So, but at the end of the day, this is not about that, but it's always at the end, what I would be really, cheating somebody if they don't have that environment, and I don't offer, an opportunity for them to have that environment.
Yeah.
I think I'm doing a disservice, right?
Yeah.
If you have it, great. But if you don't have it, and or you feel lost and you don't know, what it may be like, what your life may be like, not just your business, but your life, then definitely give it a shot. But thank you so much for having me, for the opportunity, and thank you for your trust in partnership. Let's just keep crushing it, brother. And by the way, he's going to be speaking at Agent Power Up. So you want to register on that, go to joe.agentpowerup.com, joe.agentpowerup.com. We got a lineup of amazing rock stars. Grab your ticket, and I look forward to seeing you there.
I appreciate it, my man. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and amazing value. I will continue to tune in. Appreciate you.
I'll talk to you soon, brother.
All right, bye.